All right, here we go. First time ever streaming on Twitch. We're gonna see how this goes. We have some awesome viewers. But now I immediately have feedback. So let's turn that down. There we go. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some live streaming. So in the next hour or so, I'm gonna create a Kentico Cloud project on the fly. I'm going to take with some pretty cool content, not very complex, but some pretty cool content. I'm going to take the .NET Core boilerplate, MVC boilerplate. Gonna pull that down. Gonna show you how that looks like real quick. Then I'm gonna change that over to pull my content instead. So we're gonna see how it goes. I have the chat window open, so you can look at that and you can ask me something. There's like a couple second delay in the video you're hearing and the words that I just said, but I will try to respond to those as soon as I get them in. Before I get started, the most interesting thing you'll see is I actually got my green screen working. So that took a little bit. I had to construct it. Maybe I'll turn off the green screen. I'll show you what it. I'm not going to mess it up because I don't want to mess up the color with it. But we have a nice green screen behind me, so I look amazing. It's not a cape. This is my seat, so it's not a cape. So here we go. All right, let's get going. So I'm going to do everything from scratch here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my Kentico Cloud project. So I'm going to sign into Kentico Cloud and start creating my content. And I have some notes on the side over here that I'll be kind of jumping back and forth with to help me stay on track. But, oh, good, I've been logged out. All right. So first thing you'll see, I'm going to sign into my Kentico account here. We have single sign-on, which is pretty cool. And it's if you have the enterprise plan, I think, anything in higher, you can do single sign-on. So I'm going to log into there. And I have a lot of projects. I have a lot of projects under my account, so you're going to see all them pop up in short order. So no, don't stay signed in, just go. Okay. All right. Alesh, can you hear me all right? Can you see the screen all right? You're my guinea pig because you're the only one talking to me on chat. So. All right. So let's go make a new project. Where's my projects? Projects down here. And we're going to call this, I don't know, live demo or something. Let's call it 80302 live demo under my subscription. Sure. Okay. All right. The green screen is gone. So you see the background, huh? Weird. Okay. We should just see the outline of me. Like, you shouldn't see the background of the green, but all right, don't worry about it. I'm not worried about that. All right. So I created my project. So now I'm going to define my content models. And in this case, we're going to have what's called a masterpiece, because that's what the content I have is. They're masterpieces. So we're going to have title for these masterpieces. We're going to have a release date for these masterpieces. We are going to have an asset. So we're going to have, we'll just call it poster. Maybe we'll just call it logo. Kind of a logo, I guess. And then let's pull in some rich text. So we'll call this, this is just going to be description. All right. So I'm going to come into here. Let's say we only have one just to show you guys. And none of these are optional. We'll make them all required. Just so I don't screw up my own content. So. And all right, so I'm gonna save that. And now let's create some content. So I'm gonna jump over to my content tab and I'm gonna make some new content. Let me jump over to my notes over here. And we have some masterpieces. So let's do first masterpiece will be Transformers. Transformers were released, I don't know the exact, so we're gonna do 1980, it was in 1984. I don't know. Oh, that's what I want. I've never tried to type it in like that. I don't want to have to type it. one. Now, let's see. Please provide month, day. Oh, it's month, day, year. So 1984. All right. You think I'd be able to do this very quickly? Okay, we'll just do that. All right. And minimize that. All right. So let's upload library. We first have there's our transformers. Yes. Awesome. And because these are all masterpieces, they were brilliant pieces of cinematography that were all released right around the same time. Not surprising that I have an affinity for them. The next masterpiece we'll have is this will be Thundercats. Thundercats I actually use in some of my presentations. If you never saw Thundercats, it's pretty awesome. They're very out there because they had such an interesting, I guess, story behind them. Because well, you just have to see. If you've never seen it, I think you would enjoy it because Thundercats are pretty epic. And even as I'm doing this, I've already realized it's kind of odd that I'm just sitting here talking the whole time. So you have to tell me that's annoying or something. I don't really know. I guess, are you looking for entertainment? Is that what it is? Are you looking to be entertained by watching me? So I feel like I have to entertain you. The very next one's G.I. Joe. Played a lot of G.I. Joe. Snake Eyes was always my favorite. Snake Eyes was blind, but he was a ninja, which I don't even understand how that happened, but he's Snake Eyes, so, he can do it. I thought Destro was cool, too, because he had the whole face that was, like, metal or something. Alright, so let's come over here, copy that, and so I'm just filling in some content. I guess if I wanted to, I could have built an import utility, but that would have taken too long. Alright, so let's do one last piece of content, one last masterpiece. Possibly my favorite is Voltron. If you know anything about any of the presentation I've done lately, Voltron, Defender of the Universe. There has been several Voltron remakes. I do not recognize any of those. I'm a purist. I go with the Defender of the Universe, which was 1984. Some fun facts about Voltron. Originally, there were 5. The characters, one of the characters got hurt. He hurt his back in a accident, and that's when Princess Allura took over the Blue Lion. So, if you know much about Voltron, there you go. All right, so there's all my content. So let me drop that in here. And I'm going to just publish all these right now. It doesn't really matter. They're not being used anywhere, but I'm going to go ahead and publish them. I guess I could schedule them to publish if I wanted to, but I'm just going to publish them right now. So off they go. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is so now I have my content, even though I'm not going to use that for a little bit. I'm going to use the new, the .NET Core Boilerplate. So under Developer Hub, you can jump right down to the boilerplates, and it will walk you through it. But if you haven't used the .NET New command, it's pretty awesome because you can, like, one line of code, it just like, bam, there's your whole site already ready to go. So this is the boilerplate I'm going to use, and it walks you through using that .NET New command. So I'm going to, let's see. So down here, you just see the README, and it'll kind of walk you through all that. But really, I'm interested in this guy right here. So what this command will do is it will download the boilerplate to your .NET New, I guess, template library, you could call it. And so therefore, once it's in your template library, you can keep using it to create as many sites as you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and execute that command, even though I think I already have it, but I'm going to do it again just in case. So what that .NET New command is, it's going out, it's pulling the boilerplate template down, and it's putting them on my machine, and now they're available for me. So if I, once it restores, so it's kind of pulling in all the stuff, these are all the list of the .NET new templates I have available to me. So here's the ASP.NET Core with Kentico Cloud, Kentico MVC. So that's the one we're going to do. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to, let's say, my desktop. And I'm going to, let's jump over there. All right. And I'm sure you're all following at home. I'm sure you're doing your own stuff right now. That's awesome. All right. So I'm going to just change directory over to my desktop. And I'm going to make a new folder. Well, this is actually where I'm going to create my new project. So I'm just going to make it right on my desktop. So once I have the .NET new command, I can come down here and I can run this command, which is going to create my new site. And the site, you can really name it whatever you want to. And if I really wanted to, I could specify an output path, but I'm going to change the command prompt to be in that directory anyway. So it's going to create it there. And I'm going to call it, let's just call it this demo. 803 live KC demo. All right. So if I run that command, so just to show you what that folder looks like on my desktop, actually I'm going to drop it down one more level. I'm just going to say sites. So let me change directory down into sites. So this is that folder on my desktop. It's very blank and boring. But now if I run the command, because I'm inside of there, it will actually create the .NET Core MVC template project all inside of there under that folder name that I gave it. So if I run that, it basically pulled it down and bam, there it is. So that's it. That's all you have to do to get the boilerplate. And this is the entire thing right here. So, and actually this site is already designed to run with some demo data. So that's one command. That's all you can do it. So if you're not familiar with the .NET Core new, the .NET new command, it's pretty amazing. If you're dealing with any GitHub projects or anything that you want to set up very quickly, if they had that template created, then you can very easily generate those sites. If you wanted to, I could have still downloaded it from Git and brought down the full stuff there, but this command does it for you. It's already integrated in to do it. All right. So with that, I'm going to jump over to Visual Studio Code. I don't use Visual Studio Code a lot, so I'm trying to use a little bit more just to familiarize myself with it. But I'm going to basically drill down into that folder and open it up. So, and there's the sites, KC Live Demo. So I'll go ahead and open that. Now, the first time I run this inside of Visual Studio Code, it's going to need to restore all the packages and stuff. So if I try to run it or do anything in the project, it's immediately going to like go into this state of trying to restore all the NuGet packages, all the dependencies that the Kentico Cloud project has by itself. And so you're going to see some messages pop up about that as soon as I interact with it. So let me do this. And then if I say build, so I'm just going to say, I'm actually just going to run this directly from Visual Studio Code. And just so you can see what the boilerplate looks like without any modifications. So let's start that. And I want to do, let's just run a .NET Core. So I'm basically telling it to run in .NET Core, and it's got to restore these packages like I said. So let's do that. And yes, restore all the missing components. So you're going to see a bunch of messages down here where it's going to restore all that kind of stuff. And then here, yeah, there it goes. So now it's starting to restore those NuGet packages. I really like the .NET Core MVC site. I actually took this boilerplate, and that's what I built my own site with. Although mine's a little bit dated because I did it like back in November or December. And our community team and the community itself is really doing a lot of updates to the .NET Core boilerplates. We just updated it, I believe, the .NET Core 2.0, or I'm sorry, .NET 2.0. So that's a pretty big advancement with it, and it's constantly being updated. So if you're using it, always check back and make sure your template's up to date too. All right, so now I can launch this guy, and let's launch the website. And so, because all the packages are restored, so now it will go through the process and it'll open up a browser. I think it's going to hit port 5000, and it's restoring everything. And you're going to see what this boilerplate looks like without any kind of customization. So with all of our boilerplates, we kind of took the same approach. We're showing some sample data of some coffees. So it's kind of like the Dancing Goat site, but it's the data from there that's being displayed. And the boilerplate's very basic. It just kind of lists these articles out. And so I'm going to take that boilerplate and I'm going to change it over to use my content instead. So I'm going to walk you through how you'll make that change. And there's a couple pieces we'll need to do. I'm going to try to expand it a little bit, although I don't want to get too deep and forget what I'm doing and miss some important piece of code. But let's see. So it's launching this. And I can tell you everything's a little bit slowed down because I'm streaming right now. So everything is running a little bit slower, but the lights are still on and it's all seemingly working, so that's good. All right, so this is the Boilerplate project, and you can see we have title, and then it's pulling in this dancing code sample site. And I don't know if this goes to a detail view. No, that's actually in the Boilerplate, it's disabled, but the idea is you would go to a detail page to view more. But you can see it's pulling in some text, it's pulling in some assets, it's pulling in some other stuff. So this is the starting point. So now that I've created my content, I'm going to change this template out to use my content instead, because this is essentially what I did when I built my own site, when I built my Soltis website based off of the same boilerplate. Now I added a lot more functionality, and again, we'll see how deep I get into that right now, but it at least kind of gives you an example and shows you what it should look like. So let's start modifying. So I'm gonna stop the debugging over here. And the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need the project ID. So that's the first big thing we want to switch over. I don't really need this anymore. So let me jump over there. So inside my Kentico Cloud project, I'm going to jump down. I'm going to get my project ID. First, I don't need the secure access, but we do have secure access now. I don't know if the boilerplate has the ability to handle secure access or not yet. We just released that, I think, this week, but I would expect that to be coming very shortly. But really what I care about is this project ID, because that's what's going to tell it to bring my content instead. So jumping back over here under my, let's see if I can remember where it is. It is under... Not under there. It's under a config file. I just can't remember where it is. And I reviewed all this ahead of time so I wouldn't mess it up. And now I can't remember where it is. All right. Is it under the bin? No. So this is awesome. You get to watch me try to find where it is because I can't remember where the project ID is. But I will find it. Is it under app settings? App settings, of course, where all the settings are. So here, I'm going to update that with my project ID and save that. And now I'm going to start modifying my stuff. But before I want to do anything, I need that model I created. So I'm going to use the .NET Core model generator to generate that model, the strongly typed model for my site. And I didn't mean to open Edge, and it's kind of lagging on me a little bit now. Come on, go over. It's working on it. There we go. All right. Now I'm just trying to close Edge because I didn't mean to open that. And it certainly will slow things down if I do. All right. So now let me jump over to my site again. All right. So we have these .NET Cloud generators. And what they'll allow you to do is it reaches into your Kentico Cloud project. And it allows you to generate strongly typed classes to put inside of your projects, which makes things a whole heck of a lot easier. So you can download whichever version, in this case I'm using Windows, and then you execute this command to generate it. And there's a lot of different options in that command, so you'll kind of have to pick and choose which ones make the most sense for you. So in my case, I don't really need any of this. I am going to make the type provider because I'm going to replace the type provider that's already in the boilerplate with that, but I'm going to leave it inside of the directory that I have it in, and I'll just keep the same namespace. So all I really need is I need that project ID again. So let me come back and copy that again. All right. And I have this in my download folder, and it's just, this is the extracted files and they're all there. So basically my files are going to end up right inside of there. So I guess just to be cool and different, I'll take it up a level and I'll make a new folder and then I'll use that as the output. So let's call this classes or class Ds. All right. And I shouldn't have deleted all that. Let's bring that back. I'm going to grab the with the class provider text too, with the output, just so I can put in a different directory. Because actually that does come in pretty handy if you download the code generators and you try to run them from somewhere else, you might deal with the problem with that. So here I'm going to get this, and that is this folder right here. And I think I need to put that there. So this is that folder, and then this is the command I'm going to use to execute that. So let me jump over to my folder that I have my downloads in. So that was in here. So I'm going to change my command prompt over to this one instead. And I am recording all this too. So if you want to watch it later, if it's so darn exciting, the namespace is really helpful. I actually tend to do that. I just don't know when I did the .NET Core. I wonder if it did the namespace. Oh, it did. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I will do the namespace too. I put a thing at the beginning because I agree. I think the namespace does make a lot more sense there. So I will grab that in here. This is my namespace, and I think I need to make sure I get the right text. That's over here. Oh, it's just namespace. Cool. All right. And I tend to just do this in Notepad and then kind of work with it. What can I say? I'm old school. I like Notepad. It makes me feel good. And the project ID is going to be, and I'm sure you're all going to ridicule me for that. Why don't you use Notepad++? So I like Notepad++. I do what I want. I also like the light theme. Thank you very much. All right. So there's my full command. So what I should see pop up inside of this folder is are some new files. Basically, I should see the one new content type that I created. Don't know why. Okay, there we go. The one new content type I created, and then the with the type provider as well. So let's see if it works. So it's executing. Basically, it's reaching out to my Kentico Cloud project with the project ID. It's trying to find all the content types that I have inside of there, and then it created a class, a strongly typed class specific for it. So, which is really nice because I can see that it has all the elements that I defined, the assets elements and the date times and what have you. And then it also created this custom type provider, which is really nice because whenever you retrieve content from Kentico Cloud using API, you can, if you add the type provider to your project, you'll immediately be able to interpret what that type of item is. So here, this is the type provider that came with it, but if I were to call it, it wouldn't know what my content items are because it doesn't know the types. So the type provider tells it what type it is dynamically as it returns it. So I closed the folder I was looking for. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So I'm just going to grab this and I'm going to paste this inside of here. So there's my masterpiece, but it's freaking out because the masterpiece doesn't exist. So I'm going to... I guess you can't just add an existing folder. I wonder if I can just drag it in. Nope, can't drag it in. I guess I'll just have to drop that into the Explorer window and maybe it'll just show up. Maybe. Okay, so let me copy that. And then over here, I'm going to drop that into my models, content types. Let's see. Okay, so I just dropped that into there. And why doesn't it like this? Unless I type something wrong in my stuff. You know, live coding is not good when you get errors because everyone gets to watch you jack up everything. All right, well, it finally resolved it. So now I have my type provider for masterpiece, and I have my masterpiece content, my content type model. So with this, I can start kind of transitioning everything over. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the home controller. So in the Boilerplate project, it's actually a pretty simple implementation. The content items are brought directly into the home controller, as opposed to like there being a specific controller to go work with. But you can still see how this looks. So this is the the existing one that hits the obviously the sample information. But I'm going to change this over, so I should be able to put in masterpiece here because now that class is registered in my site. And I'm probably going to have to pull it in up here. Now it has the model. All right, why aren't you working? Oh, I got an extra one, don't I? There we go. All right, so now it's a masterpiece, and I know that that is masterpiece. And I'm not going to limit any of them. The depth will just be on the standard one. And here, I think I named it release date. So I'm going to change that over. All right, so now my controller's changed over. So I'm going to go update my view to display this instead. And because this is actually happening so quickly, I'm probably going to change some other stuff just to make it interesting. But, okay, so this is the home controller with some basic information, or I'm sorry, the home view with some basic information. And we're using display templates, or for the individual items that it actually returns. So the model that's passed to this view, it will actually automatically expect that there's going to be a collection of those, and then for each one it will use that display template to lay it out. So under the display templates, I'm going to make a new one called masterpiece. Yes, HTML. And just because I'm lazy, I'm just going to grab all this over just so I have this structure. I'm going to paste that into here, and then I'm going to update this to be my masterpiece structure. So, and I'm going to mistype everything all along the way. Holy cow. Masterpiece. All right. And for each one of those, I don't remember what my model is. So let's go look at the actual fields that I created. So I have a title and description, release date. Oh, so I actually messed it up because I didn't put a space there. Did I? Let me check that. I can't remember if I did it or not. Let me look at my model over here. Masterpiece. So it is release date, but if you ever want to see the actual code name for that field, you can actually click that little button right there. So it's really handy if you want to see what that looks like. So, all right, so back over to my masterpiece. This is going to show the, where was that at? So this is the title. So I still have the same title. And where did my field go? Oh, I'm actually, okay, so it's not showing the release date. Let's add that. So I'm just gonna do, let's make it look ugly for a second, and I'll do class row, and I'll just do, just for the fun of it, I'll do model.release date. And then here, I don't have teaser image. My thing, I think I called it logo. Or let's see, where did I do with that? Logo. Yeah, I just called it logo. Which isn't really a logo, but whatever. So I'm going to change that over to be logo. And because that's an asset field inside of Kentico Cloud, you actually have to iterate through it because an asset field type can have multiple assets assigned to it. In my case, I restricted it to one, but it could have several. So we need to use the API to dig in and pull back the first one and get the URL for it, and it's setting that as the image tag. So, and then lastly, we have the summary. So that, I think I have the description there instead. And so I can do that. So really, at this point, unless I forgot something, I changed over, oh, there, okay, there's a mistake. I changed over the project ID. I added the custom classes that I created using the class generator. I changed over the custom type provider to interpret the correct type when it comes in. I changed the home controller to pull that information instead. So I have it pulling from only the masterpiece type and filtering or sorting it by the release date. And then I updated the home view to pass it in the masterpiece model instead of article. And then the display for model, I added a new masterpiece display template, and I had to make a new one that with the name that matches the class for the model that I'm using. So I had to create a masterpiece display template. And then I updated the information inside of there. So now we're going to see if it actually works. So let's start it, and we'll see if it's any good. So, all right. Up to 6 viewers now. That's amazing. No one's donated. Apparently with Twitch, you donate to people because people pay other people to play video games. So I think you all should donate a lot of money to me to do Kentico Cloud programming on Twitch. I don't know why anyone would ever donate. I just don't get it, but whatever. All right, so we're launching it up, and if all goes well, we should see our masterpieces here with my images and my text and my description and the release date. If it all goes well, we'll see. Hey, what do you know? Okay, so this is good because we got start. So here we go. So I have the release date. I have the image and I have the text, but we immediately have some issues here because it doesn't look too good. For one, I'm going to get rid of all this stuff because I'm already getting started, but I need to format the date, and I need to do some work here because this is a rich text element. So I need to do this a little bit differently. I have to handle that. It's not just a text element. It's a rich text element, which means the way Kentico Cloud stores that is it breaks down each HTML tag, and then those are what are called blocks. So I need to put that so that it displays each block individually and builds it all up. Or I possibly could just do the raw. I think I can use Razor and just do html.raw. I think. Let's see what that does. I think that works. It depends on what you're looking to do. So I'm going to refresh that. Oh, okay, so that did it. So you could either interpret the blocks and kind of loop through them, or you could just do like an HTML raw and it does that. So now it should just basically spit out the HTML that's there. So if I update that content to have some other type of, let's see, more dynamic content that was bold or something. So this is an elite mission, and we'll make Cobra, I don't know, we'll make it italicized. And then I'm gonna come back over here, publish it. Yes, go ahead and publish it. Now when I update that, the G.I. Joe one should be somewhat fancier, I hope. Unless it's caching, which is very likely, and it's not changing at all. Let me just double check that to make sure it is writing the HTML fields. And there's the row down here, class. So it is writing the fields, it's just being cached on my side. So if I do like Control F5, let's see. No, wrong thing. If I Control F5 it. All right, I'll have to figure out a way to force that. So I'll do that in a minute. So, okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to format this date, and I need to change this over. I think I can do just a format date inside of here, which I think I'm already doing in another one. Let's see, where's my home data? There's my index. And then display for blog posts. So for each blog post there, I'm actually using my my own site as kind of a helper for myself throughout this, so that I don't miss anything. But I just want to make sure I format it right. So let's see. Let's under shared display templates for the blog post. All right. So let's open that up right here. And then yeah, so you actually can just do it to string on that. But I think I found, let's see, so if I do a toString and if I say month, and then I'll just do year. Let's save that and see what it does. Maybe I should have music on in the background. Maybe that'd be more exciting. I don't know. All right, so I think it's blowing up. If I remember, I think it's because it doesn't like some aspect of it. I think it's because of the date field. I'm pretty sure that's what the problem is, but we'll see. No overload to string. All right. That is the same code that I did with something else. And so I'm trying to figure out what it is I changed to make that work. Let's see. All right, so that is the model there. The blog post. So I did the publication date. All right, I'm not sure why that guy is not working. Why it doesn't want to do that. Because it should, unless I'm doing something wrong, which is very likely. Let me try something real quick though. I'm gonna jump over to here, and this by default. I don't think that factors into anything, but let me double check. No, it's not that. It's something else. All right. So let me save that. Close down the masterpiece. No, I'll leave that open. All right. This guy is in my way. All right. All right. So there's a way to format this, and I don't know why it's not working. Because it should. So it's the toString. Maybe it just is that, but that therefore it's not obviously not going to format it when I do that, but at least it will compile. All right, so there's that custom stuff. All right, when in doubt, let's jump over and look at the documentation. It is there, it's toString. I don't know why it doesn't like it. I swear, I thought it was there, so let's try. I don't think it's gonna like that. Nope, it doesn't. All right, well, I don't know why that my formatting is not working. I've done this in several other sites, but I'm missing something, but I don't know what I'm missing. So instead of watching me fumble through it, I'm going to try to do a little bit more complex stuff. So there you can see it finally decided to let go of the caching. So you can see I'm displaying some more complex information there. So let's see. That took 37 minutes to do what I wanted to do. All right, what else am I going to try here? I wanted to maybe create some nested content. So I'm gonna start changing some things. So I'm gonna make some nested content inside of here. So I'll just say character, and there's just going to be a name. So we're just going to name for the character, and we'll save that. And then under my masterpiece, I'm going to add in some modular content for the different characters inside of there to see if that see if we can do something interesting with modular content under here. So I'll just say characters, and that's modular. So I'm going to say that is character, and then I'll save that. So now I basically just updated my model to have modular content for characters, and I spelled it wrong, which is even better. So let me change that. Characters, save that. All right, so now we have modular content underneath our masterpieces. So if we go to our inventory and we choose something like, let's do some G.I. Joe characters. And I need to make a new one, and it's going to be Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is awesome. And then we're going to make another one. Let's see, there was another one called Destro. And then I'll add one more for Cobra Commander. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Trevor. I think he just gave me a tip on how to do the how to get my date fixed. Cobra Commander. All right, Cobra Commander. Save that. No, what's really cool too is if you have modular content like that, you say I created a new version of this and those are all ready to go there. If I publish this one item, it will actually publish the items underneath it too because they're all associated with it. So, well, actually, if I would have published it from there, it's because I didn't publish it inside. Oh, no, I published Coworker Commander. If I publish the right one, it will publish everything underneath there. So here we go. If I publish this, it should publish the other two. So, all right, so publish that guy, yes. And now, because those are modular content under that one, it will mark them all as published. Okay, so let me jump back over to here and see if this works to do my date, which should. So it's dot value dot to string, and then we'll do month, year, 4 years. So let's save that. We'll see. If I refresh it, everybody cross their fingers. Maybe. Bam! There we go. So there's how you can format that. So now we have January 1983. I think it was January. I don't know when it was released. All right. So now that I have my new content in there and I have a new content type, I need to generate my models again because I have new fields that have come a part of that. So I was already in that folder, so I'm going to run the code generator again, and it should generate my classes again. Whoa, didn't mean to do that. Okay. And so here's my updated classes now. So I have a new type provider, and then I have my new class for character, and then the modular class for the modular aspect of my masterpiece class too. So I'm going to pick those up and drop them all into my site because I think that's the best way to do it with Visual Studio. So I'm going to drop all these over here. Yes, replace them. Awesome. Okay, so let me jump over to Visual Studio and I should see some updated classes inside of here now. All right, let me close out some of this stuff, even though I'm going to end up changing it. All right, so I'm going to open those back up when I need them. So now under here, I have this. I can go ahead and kill the article. Although I like to keep it, especially with the boilerplate, just in case I need it to reference back to. I like to keep it. But here's my new my custom type provider that has character and masterpiece. And then I have character, which is the character name, which is a really boring one. And then the masterpiece, which you see here, is has an IEnumeral characters. So with that, now I can have modular content underneath my stuff. So my home controller really doesn't change because if I pick up the masterpiece, it will find all the modular content underneath it. So what I really just need to update is my display template to show each of the characters underneath there. So I'm going to try to do that and hopefully not mess something up. So let me grab this over here. That is under my index. So, because my model is the masterpiece, it now has another element or another property that is for the characters that are underneath it. So if I'm gonna do another display template, HTML .display. Display 4, and then I'll say x equals model dot character. All right, and now I need a new display template for my character.cshtml. All right. So I've noticed if you're watching live streaming from somebody, they generally have like the game going on in the background, which is probably more interesting than me just talking, but oh well. All right, so I'm gonna grab that over real quick and I'm gonna drop it into here just because I'm being lazy. And then character. All right, and so for the character, I'm just gonna basically remove all this stuff and I just really have the name. So I'm just gonna write each name really basically. So at model character, or it's actually name. All right, so I updated, well, first I created my new classes, my new strongly typed classes for the models. So that gave me an updated, it created the character one, which is my new class, or my new content type. It updated the masterpiece to have an numeral for that. And then it updated the custom type provider so that when the content gets retrieved, the application can understand what type of item that it is. Then underneath my masterpiece, masterpiece display template, I just added a new section for displaying the characters. Actually, it's characters there, because that's plural. And then I created a new display template specific just for those characters that's going to write that out. So let's see if it works. If I just refresh this, maybe we'll see it. Let's hope. Bam, fail. Okay, I messed up something. All right, let's see what it says in the debug. It's probably, oh, because I didn't type it right, because I have a capital F, a capital O. So let's try that. All right, try that guy again, refresh. Another problem. All right, working through it. Let's see what I have the problem here with. It is characters, no extension, masterpiece definition for characters. Is that not part of my model? Characters. Characters. All right, that all seems fine. So I don't know what the deal is there unless I spelled something wrong here. Didn't spell anything wrong there. All right, let's clear this out and let's try this again. I'm not sure what it's complaining about here. I don't think you have to recompile with .NET Core. I think it just does it on the fly, Trevor. He asked if I needed to recompile it, but it's something that is not there. It should, let's see, what am I missing? I'm missing something. It is because first I'm going to type masterpiece could be found missing. All right, so I think it's that @ symbol. Awesome. If I missed that, if that's what it was, that's even better. Nope, wasn't that. All right, what is going on? What is my problem here? So that is pulling there. I'm kind of looking at some of my notes over here for a functioning site to see what the deal is. So that should pull the blog post, and then it should say display that with the model, and that's inside the model. All right. Let's see. Something is going on here. So what is the deal? If someone sees it, chime in. Otherwise, you just have to watch me try to figure it out. All right, share template. Masterpiece does not contain a definition for characters. I think it does. It's right there. Characters. Masterpiece. And no extension method for characters accepting the first argument type masterpiece could be found. So it's telling me that the masterpiece class doesn't have a definition for characters, which it does right there. I don't think that that's it either. Promised you a show, and your show is watching me try to debug a site. So that's the exciting part of it. All right, so it's not that. Let's see. Yeah, I'll give it a shot, but I don't think so. I'll try to stop and start debugging again, but I don't think it's doing that. I think it's has a problem somewhere else. So I think I just missed something, but I don't know what I missed. So it's basically launching it again. Let's see if it is going to figure it out this time. But I don't think you have to debug it. I think it just does it. I think it's already there when it launches. Like I think it just compiles it on the fly. I think there's another issue. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I am wrong. But I don't think so. It sure is taking a long time, so that's good. It's thinking about it. All right, so apparently you do have to stop and start debugging. So, although I don't see my stuff. Why don't I see it though? All right, well at least it loaded it, so that's a good sign. But I don't know why it didn't display it. So let's do this. Let's say, let's add in like an H3 just to make sure it's showing this. All right, so there's that. Oh, you know what? I think the depth in my retrieval, it's not gonna pull. If you do a depth of 0, I think it only pulls from the first level. I think. So I think when I'm returning the data, I have this depth 0, and I want to change that so that it will pull deeper. So I'm gonna change that over to not limit the depth, which basically will pull all the content and all the modular content below it. And I should see data, I hope. Nope, I don't. All right. Let's see. You're talking about the limitation of local debugging, daytime. That's right. Okay. All right. So why am I not seeing that? So another thing I'll do when I'm working with Kentico Cloud is I will try to hit the site directly to see what's going on, so that I know, so I can see the response back, because I should be seeing the characters, but I need to make sure that they're in that. Okay, Trevor. Okay, I'll do it again. Okay, we'll try it again. So we're gonna recompile again. So I think it's probably a good idea. I should probably do that. And okay, so everyone's telling me if I change controller code, recompile. Okay, I got it. I'm doing it. So let's try that again. I like Visual Studio Code. It's good. I guess I'm so used to Visual Studio, the full version, that it's still getting used to it. There's a couple of things I'm still trying to figure out how it all works, but all in all, I like Visual Studio Code. I think it's really, I guess, good for working with JavaScript and obviously front end stuff. That makes it a lot easier. But I don't know. Old habits die hard. You know, I like Notepad, so as I've already admitted, it's just fast. It's just I have it pinned right there on my taskbar, and I can just open it up whenever I need to. So, all right. Now after changing. So I didn't know that actually when you do .NET Core. I actually thought it just picked up the changes automatically, but I guess when you do change the controller or any kind of code behind stuff, you still need to compile it again. So good to know. Now hopefully we see some. We still, okay, so they're formatted really bad, but now it's pulling in the modular content underneath there. So what I demonstrated was how to pull modular content as well. This is pretty on par with my design capabilities. That's why it looks like that. So I'll try to make it look a little bit better. So we'll just do li, change this over. At least I'm not using tables, so that would be kind of bad. we'll change that guy over. And over here instead, let's move this guy. Maybe it will put it under there. We'll see. Now, just to clean that up just a little bit. Maybe it'll throw it under there. Let's hope. No, it just left it under there. This is why I'm not a designer. So anyway, let me recap the whole process again, because we're just about an hour, and that's as much as I wanted to do today, just to kind of give you a feel for it. So I'm going to walk back through the whole process again, just to explain everything that I did. So the very first thing I did is I created a new Kentico Cloud project. In this case, it was called Live Demo. And you can do that underneath your projects tab inside of here. You can create your new projects. You can archive old ones that you don't deal with anymore. And then after creating the project, I created my content model. And first I created this masterpiece content model that I defined the title using just text. The release date, we use time date. I added an asset for the logos because I have a logo for each cartoon that I put on there. And then I added a rich text for the description itself. Then I added some content for that. I added some masterpiece content, and I went in and I defined the different content that I wanted to have for there. So I have Thundercats, the release date, uploaded all the images and associated them with it. And then I published it, and they were displayed on the site. Then I decided to do a little bit of formatting of that content. So to display those on the site, let me take a step back there. I used the code generator. So I used the code generator utilities to, well, first I downloaded the Boilerplate project itself, and I ran that using the .NET new command. And then I used the code generator utility to come through and created my strongly typed classes for my content types of my Kentico Cloud project. And those generated these classes that I included into my project, which was at the time the masterpiece and the custom type provider. And that looks inside of my Kentico Cloud project, pulls all the content fields out, and sets their appropriate class type for whatever they are. So if it's a date, time, system, assets, which is really nice because when you work with these objects inside of your application, you can use strongly typed classes to do so you don't mistype things. But then I also created the custom type provider to have the API understand what type of items are being returned when I make a call to Kentico Cloud. And then just one other aspect is I threw in the namespace as well. So now they all match the namespace of my entire project, which is really nice because then I can keep everything coordinated and kind of isolated in its own little space. I updated the home controller to pull this content instead because I just took the sample that was there. I changed the element type or the system type to masterpiece. I changed the element I'm sorting by to release date, which is my field name. It was post date, which was in the sample data. And then I updated the home page, the home view to pull, actually I didn't update the layout of it all. All I really did was change the model that gets passed into it, the collection of masterpiece content items that I'm returning. So I changed the model to do that. The display for model, that will figure out the type of class that this is and automatically use a display template for each item that it finds. So I created a new one for masterpiece so it matched my class. I did a little bit of formatting on here several times over to get it actually to work. For the release date, I changed the logo so because it's an asset and those can have many assets in the collection. I want to pull the first one and get the URL and then also the name that's included inside of there along with the description. And because my description is a rich text element, I went with the HTML.raw. So that way it actually just laid out the exact HTML that we're storing in Kentico Cloud. You could also do a loop here and like break it down by the blocks. I've done that in some other applications where it basically breaks up each block that Kentico Cloud is storing for that content and kind of lay them out. But in this case, it's one big block, so I can just throw out an HTML.raw and everything gets displayed. And after I did all of that, I added my second content type to my project, which was for my characters. And when I defined those characters, which is just the name, I added that as a modular content element to my masterpiece. And then I went and I updated my content to have characters for each one. So if I drill down into my G.I. Joe, you can see I have some characters elements in there. And so with that, I regenerated, because I added a new class and I changed the masterpiece class, I regenerated my classes using the code generator. And that meant I got a new class called character, which is the new content type I created. I have a new update to the masterpiece class because now it has a collection, an IEnumeral object of characters, because those are the modular content underneath it. And lastly, the custom type provider gets updated so that when it encounters a character content type item, it knows how to interpret that. Then from there, I changed the controller because by default it had a depth of 0. And I removed that so it pulled basically every content item and any level underneath it. So if you had multiple levels of modular content within modular content within modular content, you need to make sure you set the depth parameter appropriately. Lastly, to display it, I added in this new section to the layout with characters, and I'm using the HTML display 4, which is going to pull the collection of characters that are on the masterpiece class. There's a property called characters that will hold the collection of character class items. And so I did a display for there. So all I need to do then is add one last display template specifically for my character class. And it's just showing the name. And in the end, this is what it looks like. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Like, it was a pretty basic demonstration, but I did it in an hour. But I wanted to walk you through creating that project, introducing you to the .NET Core boilerplate if you weren't familiar with it, show you the .NET new command so that you could just, like in one line of code, stand up a project very quickly, show you what that looked like, then start manipulating that boilerplate, because the idea is you're going to start your projects with this boilerplate. So I wanted to walk you through that process so you understood how to make your own content and transition the boilerplate to use your content structures and your content information instead. So that's it. That's the end of the live show. Now I'm going to go have lunch with a bunch of second graders because I do that every time it's my birthday, because it's Dr. Seuss's birthday too. So I always go read to my wife's second grade class and tell them Dr. Seuss stuff. So we're going to have really bad pizza I'm going to bring in. And hopefully you enjoyed it. And if it was a success, let me know. And I'll possibly do some more in the future, maybe some more complex stuff. All right, everyone, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you all joining. Have a great day. Adios.